So there's a little bit of drama going on in the White House over Rob Porter. Now, Rob Porter is a former aide that recently resigned over reports that he had engaged in spousal abuse. But don't worry, Donald Trump surrounds himself with the best people. To be fair, I'm going to tell you something positive about Donald Trump later. But this story actually comes with a lot of moving parts. So I'm going to kind of try to break this down to the best of my ability because it gets very, very involved. So here's some background context. So Rob Porter, of course, was a Trump staffer in the White House. And he had risen through the ranks and he ended up getting a very important job. Because for the last year, he's been the guy who actually controls all the information that reaches the president. Now, he was, of course, brought in by John Kelly, but he was also somebody who had worked under Reince Priebus. Now, before John Kelly had arrived and brought some order to the White House, anybody could just put anything in front of Donald Trump on his desk. Now, usually that ended up being Steve Bannon that would put Breitbart articles in front of the president. Or you had Omarosa, who would put negative articles about Donald Trump in front of him, and that would put him into a rage. And Donald Trump would rage at whatever topic or that he'd seen in front of him, and he would go on Twitter and do these crazy tirades, right? Now, when Kelly replaced Priebus, Kelly brought order. Now, I don't like John Kelly. I think he's a horrible person in 12 different ways, but at least he would ensure that actual facts ended up in front of the president so that he would know what's actually going on. So now that person that was there to deliver those facts was Rob Porter. So again, he had a really important position. He was allied with John Kelly. Now that actually plays into the story. It's actually very, very important. Now the allegations are that Porter not only abused two of his ex-wives, but an ex-girlfriend as well. Now, interestingly enough, this was reported by the Daily Mail, of all places, because the Daily Mail is owned by the same people that own Fox News. So why would they put out a negative article about somebody working in the Trump White House? Very interesting. So we'll go to that. But first, let me give you some of the details of the allegations. Now, his first wife was Colby Holderness, right? And she said that he was very verbally, emotionally, and physically abusive. Now, let me give you some examples here, and this is reported by The Intercept. The thing he would do most frequently is he would throw me down in a bed, and he would just put his body weight on me, and he'd be yelling at me, but as he was yelling, he'd be grinding an elbow or knee into my body to emphasize his anger. Now, that happened quite a few times, allegedly, and then he later on graduated to choking her, but not to the point of actually leaving physical marks. Now, Holderness did point out that it did get to a point of where he did leave physical marks on her. He actually punched her in very, very hard in the eye during a vacation in Florence in 2005. Now, that actually left her with a black eye, and she has pictures. Let me show you some of those. So, it's a little bit of a warning here. This is hard to look at. So, that's a picture of Holderness with that black eye. And then we have a close-up picture right there. So, okay. Now, Holderness continues. She said, "He only punched me once in the eye. He threw me down in the bed and punched me in the face. I think he was shocked at, hold on here. I think he was shocked that he had lost control to that extent. Up until then, he would always done it in a way that didn't leave marks. I don't know if that was conscious or not. He would get angry and throw me down on a soft surface. To his credit, it was always a soft surface, like a couch or a bed." Dude, that doesn't make it better. You shouldn't be throwing anybody down on anything. Period. The fact that she gave him credit, I think, just shows how deep both the emotional and physical abuse actually went. When you're saying, "Hey, man, at least you threw me down into something nice," well, that right there is a sign that you have definitely been abused. Now, his second marriage, that was his first one. His second one didn't fare much better. Now, this was to Jennifer Willoughby. Now, Jennifer Willoughby actually talked to the Daily Mail. She described her relationship as one where he had to walk on eggshells in order to avoid Porter's explosive anger. In fact, one instance is where they were having an argument. She decided, I'm going to go take a shower. And he said, no, that's not going to happen. He went to the shower, pulled her naked from it, and just began to go off on her. Now, she said that throughout the relationship, his anger would be very, very unpredictable, and that throughout the entire thing, he was very manipulative. She said, quote, he's very intelligent, extremely good with his words, and is a lawyer by profession, and is able to take words that I had said and use them in a way that would confuse me as to what I meant. Quote, he would challenge my intelligence or a statement that I had made by implying that I couldn't have possibly come up with it on my own and that I must have been influenced by someone. So the effect of that, of course, would be very clear. I would start to doubt myself. He was using words against me. It was his norm in dealing with behavior he didn't like. So, look, that is obvious. I think that, to me, that seems like gaslighting, right? No, you couldn't have possibly come out with that on your own. You're too stupid. You must have been influenced by your friends. Well, I'm not going to let you see your friends anymore. That's horrible. But that's the kind of stuff that apparently he would allegedly do. Okay. Now, this abuse, of course, both mentally and physically, got so bad that she actually had to get out. Now, she tried to get out of that relationship. He apparently did not give up so easy. And on June 19th, 2010, she had filed a protective order against Rob because he had violated their separation agreement. He actually showed up to their apartment and wouldn't want to leave. According to a complaint filed with police, he punched the glass on the door to their home, cutting his hand in the process, at which point she called the police. He then left, and following that, she filed a temporary protective order. So, now what's his explanation for the things that he had done? You're going to love this. Quote, in the first weeks and months, his explanation for his anger was that his first marriage had been very toxic, rooted in arguments, accusations, and manipulation, and he was carrying over from that relationship. He would say that he was so used to being treated this way by his ex-wife that he was projecting that onto me. That was the explanation. Look, even if that were true, which we're not entirely sure of, but even if you had been treated poorly, that's no excuse to treat your next girlfriend in the same way. It's a very, very poor explanation, and not at all a good excuse. Now, there was also a girlfriend that had this similar story. So, look, this is why he actually, despite being in a very high position in the White House, couldn't get any sort of clearance in the FBI. They found this due to a background check. So they're like, we can't exactly give you clearance. You've got all this stuff in the past. And John Kelly knew about this, right? And they're like, no, don't worry about it. We're still going to let you handle the information that reaches the President of the United States. You don't need a security clearance for that. Now, what's interesting about this case is that, well, look at the timing, right? When did it come up? Just recently. Now, the Daily Mail, again, started digging into his past. Journalists had unearthed blog posts by Willoughby that talked about this abuse, and they went and talked to her. Now, what does that say to you? You don't just stumble upon this for no reason. No, somebody was looking for this stuff. This reeks of opposition research, which opposition research, right or wrong, is there for a reason. People use it to find out what you may or may not have done in your past. Well, he may or may not have done this abuse in the past. So, now look, Porter, he disputes these accounts, of course, and at first when this broke, John Kelly and Hope Hicks both released statements supporting Porter. Now, this is where it gets even more complicated. Now, here's John Kelly's statement. When this broke, he said, quote, Rob Porter is a man of true integrity and honor, and I can't say enough good things about him. He's a friend, confidant, and a trusted professional, I am proud to serve alongside him. Okay, so that was his statement. Now, John Kelly, as this continued to unfold, he came out with another statement that was kind of a backtrack. He said, I was shocked by the new allegations released today against Rob Porter. There is no place for domestic violence in our society. Now, look, there are some reports that John Kelly knew about this. And there are some reports that would be pretty damning that he covered this up. Oh, yeah, I knew about this, but I don't care about it. I don't care. I still want him to work here. Fascinating. Now, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, at the behest of Hope Hicks, also released a statement saying, quote, I have worked directly with Rob Porter nearly every day for the last year, and the person I know is someone of the highest integrity and exemplary character. Now, just recently, the White House backed off from that. So here you have Raj Shah, White House Deputy Press Secretary, now saying, quote, I think it's fair that we all could have done better over the last few hours or the last few days in dealing with this situation. Even more complicated. There is rumor going around. No, not rumor. There had been rumor, and actually it was confirmed because of pictures of them kissing in a cab, that Hope Hicks is now dating Rob Porter. Oh no, don't do it. Get out of there. Abort. Get out. Look, again, if these allegations are true, she's in for a world of hurt, and I don't wish that upon her. So, but it makes you kind of understand why she would take the lead in putting out a statement defending her boyfriend through Huckabee Sanders. Now, when Donald Trump finds out about that, he's actually livid. In fact, Trump was described as being, quote, fucking pissed that he was not aware of the severity of the allegations against Porter until Ivanka Trump showed him the photos Porter's ex-wife provided the Daily Mail. So that, of course, is the black eye picture. Now, what does this mean? Again, the knives, I believe, are out for John Kelly. John Kelly, what does John Kelly have to do with this? Again, John Kelly brought him in there. John Kelly brought order. And there are forces arrayed inside the White House that are against John Kelly. See, what happened is, if Kelly knew about these allegations, and I think all of us will agree, these allegations are true, and John Kelly knew about them beforehand, and he tried to cover it up, then it's obvious he's got to go. And that, I think, is the goal from the outset. Again, why would they have to be after John Kelly? Well, this is a factionalized White House. And what happened when John Kelly took over for Reince Priebus is that he imposed order on a very disorderly White House. And he did that by cutting off access to the president to pretty much everybody. Everyone has to go through him. All information has to go through him and gets handed to the president by Rob Porter. So what happened when this came out? Well, immediately you had Corey Lewandowski, who was fired from the Trump administration. Anthony Scaramucci, who lasted 11 days. You also have Ivanka Trump, who had her access to the president, her own father, cut off. And you have Jared Kushner, who has been blamed by the president for I think some Russia investigation or something related to Russia. Now, look, Ivanka, very important because she was the one to show the photos in the first place. Look, can you believe it, what this guy did? And you let Hope Hicks go out there and tell Huckabee Sanders to go and defend this guy? Jeez. Look, if anybody knows how to push daddy's buttons, it's Ivanka Trump. So, oh boy. Now, there's another piece to this. I don't know how important it is. And it's just rumor, right? A little bit of rumor, a little innuendo, take it as you will. And I don't know if it's true. And if it is or isn't, especially if it isn't, then I feel absolutely horrible for her. But there's that rumor going around that Hope Hicks and Donald Trump might be a bit of a thing. Oh no. At least we know that Donald Trump, or we can assume from the rumors, if they're true, that Donald Trump is kind of interested in Hope Hicks. You know what I mean? And so maybe him finding out this relationship with Porter that was kept under wraps behind his back could be the reason that he's so livid. And let me point out why I believe that way. Normally, Donald Trump doesn't care about domestic violence. Again, he has his own past, and also had supported pedophile Roy Moore. He had all his different marriages with that alleged abuse, and kind of makes you wonder why he might be so angry about this. I don't know. But the whole point is, this entire scandal, which is rocking the White House, might be the end of John Kelly. Again, you had reports earlier about John Kelly, or about Donald Trump complaining about John Kelly to Reince Priebus. So he would call up Reince Priebus after Reince is gone. So he calls up his old buddy Reince, right? And he's like, oh, can you believe what John Kelly's doing? This would have never happened if you were there. So that's weird. And calling up some of his other friends, again, Lewandowski, things like that. And one of the reasons that, or one of the things that he was mad at John Kelly for is John Kelly wasn't going out on TV and protecting him enough. Fascinating. So, look, I think it's clear that they want to get rid of Kelly. Ivanka wants to get rid of Kelly, working with other people to get rid of Kelly so they can get that access back. Now, what happens if Kelly is gone? Chaos reigns. Again, look, even if you think the current White House is dysfunctional, and I believe it is, it's not nearly as dysfunctional as it was before John Kelly had taken over. So, if they remove Kelly, there goes your semblance of order. This White House is going to be plunged in chaos. It will return. So, whatever that means for the country, I couldn't tell you. But we'll see if all this pans out, if Kelly is gone. I would actually, at this point, put my money on it. He is not long for this administration. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.